thoughts on the game and how you felt like your team performed tonight.
Yeah, I thought a little bit of the same story right now with us is some good performances, some not so good. The moments we let ourselves down on the goals, just again poor, kind of a little bit naive in the moments, and we weren't killers in front of goal. We have two really good looks in the first half, breakaways that we gotta clean that stuff up and put it in the net and make our life a little bit easier and bring some energy to our team. And, you miss those, and, it's a little bit of a fragile group right now. So, when you get scored on, you miss two chances. It's tough for this group to, sometimes overcome. But I was proud that they did. They get the goal back, and they thought the second half was sharp. And then we give up, a poor goal in transition as we're pushing for the win. But again, it was a group that, doesn't necessarily play with each other as much, and mixing things up. So, I take some blame for that, in that, they're not always necessarily set up to succeed when you're trying to win a game, but you're also with an eye towards the future and the last 10 games, and that is where we're at now. So the message is, you put this tournament to bed. We learned a little bit about ourselves. We saw some things we wanted to see. We didn't get the results that we wanted, but I think we're better for going through this. And now it's all about, the last 10 games and seeing what we can do to get in the postseason. That's been our goal. That's what we talked about on the first day here. That's what I talked about when I first got to this club, about being a team in the postseason year after year, and bringing some sustainability to what we're doing here. And it's still doable. There's a lot of points, and I'm looking forward to getting back this week and really focusing on the league and putting this thing to bed, and not having to manage lineups. And you're out of the tournament, so again, it's a great tournament, right? A little sour grapes because we didn't do so hot, but I'm done with it. We're done with it. That locker room's done with it. And we are completely focused on the rest of the season.
Okay, we'll start with some questions here in the room. Start off right in front of you in the middle.
Ben, you talk about it, right? How you rotated, and it's shown you, right? Your players have shown you what they're capable of. How much does this help you determine your 11 for Saturday?
Somewhat. Again, against Tigres, we went all in with a group that we wanted to see together, potential starting lineup for this team, and we rotated, and then we end up rotating again a group, and sometimes those relationships aren't always fully formed when you do that, but you do find out about some individuals and what they're capable of at this level, and you find out what they're not made of too. So you find out both of these things. So it helps us. It helps us. But when you're a group that needs wins, and then the mixing groups up and not winning within that and getting some success, that's also the balance. And I think the message to this group is that this tournament's over. The whistle blew, it's over, and it's time to get back to work.
And then you were without Ponce for the majority of the tournament. What are you telling the guys? Who are you looking forward to step up to potentially the killer instinct?
And Eric, right? So we'll be getting some guys back too that also are potential starters in this. So those aren't excuses. That's just reality. And Ponce's looking good. We purposely rested him to make sure he's setting himself up for success over the last 10 games. So this is a luxury we have because we're out of this tournament. And it's also part of the reason why it's a little tougher to get results. Again, that's just honesty and reality.
Okay, we'll go in the back row in the middle.
Hi, Coach. So I know you said you were done with this. What experience do you take, from this tournament that will help you now focus into MLS action?
Well, we saw a lot of different guys playing, and they are. Rhythm or just game minutes for players helps. If they're not getting minutes, for instance, Dan Steris comes back into the fold. It's a good 2 games to see where he's at for the last 10 games to help us. T came in there, got some minutes and showed some life. So it's a lot of that stuff. And then you can tweak some things where you want to see a certain relationship and what does he look like, and in-game adjustments where, Linger started wide, and then we wanted to see what he looks like as the false nine. They're all snapshots of this. But the tricky part is doing that and still trying to win games, as I said. So that's why I put some of that on me of wanting to see things still at this stage in the game. And sometimes that ends up costing the team some results. And, I do feel, again, the message to the group is we show up at HSP tomorrow with a different energy, right? And if we're going to go down and we're not going to make the playoffs, let's go down swinging. Let's go with some bravado. Let's go with some bite and make a run at this thing. And at times, this group, I've been, a little bit disappointed in that, in our fire, in our belly, and I've been public about that. So we gotta start bringing that, because if you don't do it soon, it will be too late. But right now, it ain't too late.
Okay, we'll go to Chris on the far right.
Yeah, Mr. Ben. So, what were the key tactical gaps you identified in these games in the team's defensive structure that Pachuca were able to exploit, particularly in the wide areas during transition?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're referring to, one, we're chasing the game, right? So this is a problem with us. We get scored on, and our instincts are to push the game. We got to go score a goal. That exposes you a little bit, and that's why I go back to, what you'll look at is the transition goal. But what I'm focused on, let's score the goal that we have in the first 15 minutes, and then the second one. And now we're 2-1, and now everything changes. And now we don't have to extend. They have to extend. And then maybe we can go 3-1 because they're exposed. So these moments change games. And when I know it, you hear coaches say it so many times, we weren't good in the moments. But it's true. We weren't good in some moments. And it seems to be costing us when we're not good, when we get, I'm throw Ethan under the bus, but he's got to do better on that sideline. That guy has to be cleaned out, right? That's a moment. That matters. And then we concede, but we have to also finish plays off. So what makes me optimistic is if we clean some of that stuff up, we're still a pretty good team. We're still creating a lot of chances. We still understand who we are. And I just think at some point that can turn really quickly. And then we finish the chances and we make the plays, a defensive player or two that really matter. And seasons can change so quickly in that way. And that's also the message to the group. We go in Austin, good performance, and get something out of that. All is good, baby.
Okay, any additional questions in here in the room? I'll go over to Victor real quick. Go to Victor, and then we'll come back over to the right, and then we'll wrap up.
Victor Rise, LeaguesCup.com. I'll piggyback off that. Do you think that's an advantage or a disadvantage, the fact that you guys got some games here? Austin sat at home not participating in the Leagues Cup.
We're going to find out. Yeah, we're going to find out, Victor. It's rhythm versus, rest versus they can prepare for us. And, we've been busy doing a lot of other things. So I'm not sure. But it's nice to play. I think it's, nice to have these games. And when I talk about Leagues Cups, it's a great tournament. I do like it. I think it's a good tournament, and it's and because of the format, though, if you're out, you're out, and you have to make some decisions whether or not to go all in here or on quick turnovers, change some teams, and also then on the third, you got a game around the corner, and we don't have a lot of luxury to not be at our best out of this on the turn. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay, we'll wrap up over here on your far right, Coach.
Coach, you mentioned how you lacked the killer instinct in front of net. Do you think that's a problem that you see going forward?
I think that was the case the entire tournament, and plenty of chances, right? And that, again, that's where the optimism comes. So they're there. We're creating stuff. We're getting looks. We're not getting a crazy amount, but we're, you certainly think that we'd have more goals in this tournament, or even over the last 6 or 7 games. Yeah, that's an issue. The games, both Salt Lake games, you go down the line, other than Vancouver. So as we talk about giving up goals in transition, and of course, we also have to improve in being killers in front of that. But it's like any sport, you get 1 or 2 and you have one of those games where you break out, then things change. The net starts to look big. Just like in basketball, the basket starts to look bigger. It's similar in soccer. So hopefully we can remedy that against Austin.